My name is Maria and I'm 43 years old. Back in 1999, my husband and I became pregnant and we were very excited about the prospect of having a child and starting a family. I was 35 years old and unfortunately 6 weeks later I miscarried and I had an unexplained miscarriage. For about a year or so after that, I tried to get pregnant on my own and unfortunately wasn't able to. So a friend of mine suggested that I start seeing a fertility specialist. So I went that route. I started to see a specialist, and we had a series of different inseminations, artificial inseminations. We did about 4 of those. I was on the drug Clomid, which after the first cycle of taking Clomid, I gained about 20 pounds and became extremely depressed because I did want to become pregnant, but the extra weight that I was gaining was kind of furthering my depression and furthering, am I going to be able to get pregnant? And it just wasn't doing well with my moods. Went in there for the first IVF and they were able to take about 2 viable eggs out of 27 that I produced. Producing 27 eggs and having 2, I was a little concerned with why the ratio was so negative. And the doctor said, well, it is your age. And at the time, I was 37 years old. And because of my age, my eggs are old, so I can't expect to have 5 good eggs like a 25-year-old would have. And I kept saying, well, I had 27 eggs though. I mean, that's a lot of eggs, and the quality was so bad, what would make that happen? He said, well, let's try this first. We're going to have the insemination done, and then, if this doesn't work, we'll try to, change it up a little bit for next time. Now, granted, this was $15,000, $20,000 a pop, and my insurance didn't cover it. So the attitude of changing it up next time, I was starting to really feel like a guinea pig. The IVF cycle, the first one, I remember sitting at my bed and praying really hard, probably the hardest I've ever prayed before, to please let me be pregnant. And right when I was praying, I felt my cycle begin. And I was just so upset and so frustrated. And I just didn't think it was ever going to happen. Called the doctor to let them know that obviously I didn't get pregnant. So they called me in to have a procedure done. They wanted me to have a dye test to make sure that everything, I guess, was normal. I was able to, if I was able to conceive, that I'd actually be able to hold a pregnancy and that my fallopian tubes were clear. So we went into the hospital. I had the dye test done, which was excruciating pain. Actually almost passed out from it. And everything came out normal. And everything they checked time and time again came out normal. So the doctors just kept making me feel like, I should have started 5 years ago. So in any case, so the second IVF cycle, we changed our drug plan. I added another drug to the program. I just remember having a series of 4 different shots now for 6 to 8 weeks prior to the IVF cycle. And again, having your blood levels checked, continuously before and after the IVF cycle actually takes place. So it's needles in the arms, it's needles in the stomach, it's needles in the thighs, it's needles in the backside. It just incredibly a lot of pain. After the second IVF cycle, I produced 22 eggs. 1 was viable. We did the transplant, and again, the nurse called me up to tell me that my pregnancy test was negative. I became angry. I became frustrated. People around me were getting pregnant. It just seemed like everybody was able to get pregnant except for me. You start questioning why can't we get pregnant? Am I not supposed to be a mother? And it's just, nobody could really give me answers, and you start self-doubting yourself. So a friend of mine who was also having issues trying to get pregnant started seeing Dr. Seidman, and she referred me over to him. So when I went to go in to see Dr. Seidman, my initial reaction was that, Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years. IVF's been around not that long. Maybe, if anything, at least I can just do my body some good and detox myself from all of these hormone drugs that I was on. So my first meeting with Dr. Seidman, he explained to me the Hunan method, and I was a little skeptical, but what I loved about it was the fact that there were no needles, there was no invasive procedures or anything to see, and all he did was simply look at the back of my tongue and check my pulse. And amazing to me, the first time he looked at me, he told me exactly why I could not get pregnant, something that no doctor could ever do before, except at my age. Dr. Seidman assured me that this was something that my body had come accustomed to over the years of my life, and that he would be able to fix it, that it would take time, and I had to have patience. But I figured, all right, well, I've been trying for 2 years. What's another 6 months or another year if this would work? So my first prescription that he made for me with the teas, I didn't think I was going to be able to actually drink it. I came back the next week and I was able to do it, and you get used to it. But all of a sudden, I started feeling differently. My headaches that I used to suffer all the time went away after a week. The tiredness that I had went away after a week. Everything, I just figured, okay, if it's not getting me pregnant again, at least this is definitely helping my body. About 4 months into the program, I started feeling a lot more self-assured. I wasn't so nervous about trying to get pregnant, wasn't putting so much pressure on myself. And Dr. Seidman actually put my husband on a regimen for just 30 days and told me that it's not going to work the first time, but it'll work your second cycle. Well, it worked the first time, and actually we became pregnant in August of 2003. And I actually called Dr. Seidman at 6 o'clock in the morning because I took a pregnancy test and it said that I was pregnant, and I didn't believe it. So I actually called him to see if the herbs actually affected the pregnancy test. And he didn't yell at me or anything for calling him at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. And he told me, yes, indeed, you are pregnant. And the tears that I had, I'm still emotional today. It was just amazing. My son was born April of 2004, exactly 1 year after I started seeing Dr. Seidman. And he's 5.5 today, and he's a healthy, beautiful baby boy. And I have the Hunan method to thank for that. Dr. Seidman never gave up on me, he never discouraged me, and he always kept me positive. So I can't ever thank him enough for giving us the pride and joy of our life. And I would recommend this to anybody who's been through the years of frustration and the years of tears and the years of discouragement that you've received from doctors.